Hey guys, Dave from Eerie Arachnids. Here's my normal to start things off. I have a few things I just want to quickly discuss, and by quickly, probably 12 to 15 minutes worth, because I tend to talk a little bit. Not that you guys have never noticed that before, but we started a new Facebook group, and well, before we get into that, this is the Homo eoma species blue. Pretty sure we're a male here, based on that ventral shot that I got of it, where you can see we're popping and we're getting the legs out now. The abdomen is pulled out. I'm pretty excited. I've been waiting for a long time. This spider looked really ragged, and they're so pretty after molt. So I'll look forward to that in another day or two. We'll be able to, once it starts to stretch out, we'll get some pictures. And I moved my GBB off my table, and I put it on a little card table over by my heater. I'm trying to heat her up because she's by the heater all the time now. So when the heat comes on, she's getting warmed up a little bit. She's fed a few times now. Just small crickets, but whatever I had left, I gave her the other day. I think she had 2 more small crickets. So I think she's eaten 5 or 6 in the last week and a half or 2 weeks since she ate the first time. But yeah, so I thought I'd bring this one down, and then I'll quickly talk about, maybe we could put this one up here too. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not, but probably not. No. We'll wait. No, I'll just talk about it instead of showing you, because you really can't see a spider much. The Sednoctimus brachyramosa, which is the Malaysian blue femur, it's an old world species from Malaysia. I named that spider molasses because they are painstakingly slow growers. I've had it for 18 months, and I think it's molted once or twice, and it never really picked up any size. It was still a brown drab spider. When I rehoused it out of the baseball cube into the softball cube about a week and a half ago, yesterday I noticed that the spider had molted. So it molted the same day the pulchripes, the Gramstol pulchripes, and the Brachypelma vagans molted. The problem with it is when I got the mold out, which is in the opposite corner of where the spider is, I pulled the molt out. It freaked the spider out a little bit when I put the lid back on. And the spider went running around. I looked at it, I was like, something looks odd. Very odd. And I couldn't put my finger on what it was. Well, finally the spider settled down after, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes of me trying to get it to a point where I can look at it, and it doesn't have any pedipalps. So it lost the pedipalps because I found them in the opposite corner of everything else. So the molt was in one corner, spider was in another corner, and the pedipalps were in another corner. And then the water dish was in the opposite corner. So all 4 corners of the enclosure had something in it. I don't know how they came off. I don't know if the spider removed them, if there was something wrong in the molt. I have no clue. The reason I was trying to figure it out is because I needed to know if the spider was bleeding. So if it was leaking hemolymph from that area, I needed to figure out how to get either, flour or cornstarch is what you really should use, on that area for a spider that moves like, the speed of light. Fortunately, I didn't see anything leaking. But I'm trying to figure out now it's going to be an interesting little event with this one from now until the next time it molts, to find out how I'm going to feed it. Because if you watch spiders feed, you know that they generally grab their prey with their pedipalps pulled into their fangs, and then their fangs do the rest of the work. Well, this spider is not going to have that ability. So we may have to do pre-killed, eating a Tootsie Roll. We may have to do pre-killed for that spider. So we'll find out. But as we're watching this guy here molt, I really hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I'm 99.9% positive that this is a male. So we started a new Facebook group, and I'll try and discuss it as quickly as I possibly can to give you guys an idea of why we did it, what the goal is of the site, and maybe it's something you guys might be interested in joining. The group is called the Tarantula Community, and it was started yesterday. And this was something that was discussed a long time ago, but it never really took fruition. And there was a little bit of frustration. A lot of it was on my part. Frustration with just some things that had gone on different sites, and not just one in particular, because there was a handful of them. But the one just kind of put me over the edge yesterday, and I left the group. And it's the first time I've ever left the group. other than, you know, maybe a group. I've left a handful of groups, don't get me wrong, but they were all small groups that weren't going anywhere. Didn't have any membership. There was no activity. And I look at them, I'm like, why am I even a member here? I don't ever go there. So, but this place I've been a member from pretty close to the beginning of the group. And it just went in a different direction. And it took a left turn a while back, and I kind of just went with the flow, and I tried to not let things bother me, but the last few weeks, the stuff really, really bothered me a lot more, because I just see a lot of garbage information and a lot of glorification of handling spiders that I just don't think need to be handled. And again, that's a personal opinion of mine. I'm not anti-handling at all. I don't think that the spider gains anything out of it. So please don't think that they do. I've held them. I mean, I've held the pulchra, I've held them more in the last couple months than I have in the 11 or 12 years. I held the rosea that I had, or the portery that I first had, a few times when we first got them. But then for the last 8 years that we have, I never touched them or her. But it wasn't the handling pictures that got me. It was the glorification of it. It was the attitude of, if you want to be cool, this is what you have to do. And it just went against what I believe that the hobby should be. And the people that should be advancing the hobby are making it a sport. And, I mean, we just say it was a big pissing contest. And, you had people that were, that keep saying, old worlds are, if you don't have an old world, you're not a true keeper. If you're not handling your old worlds, then you're a girl. Crap like that. And it just drove me crazy. And so with this new group, the Tarantula community, it's going to be, we want to take a little bit from each group and try to make one group that is the best of all of them. The handful, I mean, I'm in a lot of groups, 16, 17, 18 tarantula groups. And I think I really only frequent a handful of them. Tarantula Keepers of the World are two that I am moderating on, and now this one, Tarantula Community. I also go to Tarantula Gossip, because there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on over there. There's another new group called the Tarantula Nation, and then there's Tarantula Owners Worldwide. That, not a big fan of that place, but I go there to try and help people that I think really want to be good keepers and just getting rather lousy information. So that's the goal of this site, and the aim of this site is to help educate, help further the hobby, help people become better keepers, help with the ability to find the correct information, not assumed information, not information that you're clicking, I'm going to go get a care sheet for Brachypelma amelia, and you go to, a care sheet that's got, the person's got a million different care sheets. And if you've read them, if you read 10, 15, 20 of them, you could see that 50% of the stuff is just copied and pasted from one to another. And we want to be able to give people information from people that have kept these things for a while, that have studied them in the field, that are biologists, trying to get people information on the ventral patterning of the legs from Poecilotheria. People misidentify Poecilotheria very, very frequently, especially when they're smaller, because a lot of them look alike, dorsally. The way to tell a Poecilotheria really is ventrally, with their leg band coloring, their patterning, different prominent triangles, or, like Poecilotheria miranda have completely white femur on front and back side. So that's a way to distinguish them. Poecilotheria vittata have no yellow ventrally. So that's a way to determine them. I think there's, Poecilotheria fasciata and Poecilotheria Hanemuvasalamamica. I can never say that one. There's a very subtle difference between the two of them. It's just one little coloring band on the leg, and it's minute. Very, very minute. Other than that, they're completely the same exact spider. So, trying to get information like that and trying to build an album with spermatozoa from different molted females. Now, my Brachypelma vagans was the first picture I used in this album. So people will be able to go there and say, hey, I want to sex this spider. Here's the molt. What do you think? Well, people can go to the album and they can compare, this is a Brachypelma vagans at 2.5 inches. And I have a picture of Brachypelma at 2.5 inches with prominent spermatozoa, and this one's not showing anything. Then, you're obviously you have a male. So, be able to have the comparison stuff. And there'll be, different things that you can do. You can handle there without any kind of disclaimer. You could put a picture up without any kind of disclaimer. We don't allow live vertebrate feeding there. Again, that's a personal preference from people that use vertebrates as feeders. I mean, they're your spiders. Do what you want. I really don't care. But on that group, there'll be no live vertebrate feeding. So no mice, no lizards, no chicks, no anything like that feeding to tarantulas. But you can handle without a disclaimer, as long as it's not glorified. As long as you're not saying, oh, look at this, I'm so cool, and look at how cool it is to handle this, Poecilotheria regalis. Look, it's climbing up my arm, and oh, it's so calm, it's so gentle. And then some 16-year-old kid happens upon one in a PetSmart one day, or a pet store, or an exotic store, or an expo. They buy it, they bring it home, they get it in their bedroom, they put it on their arm, and the thing bites them. And then they got to go to the hospital now. I don't want to glorify that. I don't want people to think that that's what you have to do. I don't want people to think that, the only way that you're a true keeper is if you have old world species, because that's not true. I don't want people to think that there's only a handful of beginner species that you should get if it's your first tarantula. Some people there are, and that all goes with the person, really. I mean, I've talked to people that are new keepers that have had snakes and different things, been keeping for years, and they want to get an OBT, and I'm like, this is what you're going to deal with. I'll flat out tell you exactly what you're going to deal with them. If you think you can handle it, I'm not the one getting bit, you are. So I gave you the information. You have to make that conscious choice now. So, stuff like that is stuff that we want to be on with that group. We want people we're going to interact more. Amy Salinas, Quentin Salinas, and Steve Johnson are the other moderators. We're calling Quentin the guy. It's basically, he was thinking about this before, I believe, and I think just me talking to Amy yesterday morning about my frustrations kind of pushed this a little bit into high gear. So there's some great things that we've already talked about, and things that I think the site's going to go the group's going to go in a good direction. And I think, and we hope that, at some point in time, that it's going to be the group that everyone wants to go to, and hang out and get good information and be able to help people. It's a group that beginners are going to be able to get information that they need. They'll feel comfortable asking the questions, They'll be comfortable asking the questions that need to be asked without fear of getting hammered. A place that we want experienced keepers to feel comfortable being able to give information and not saying, well, it's been, this is my biggest complaint, is when people say, I need some information. What do you guys think of my setup? And then you have someone that's been keeping spiders. Give me 1 second. I gotta redo this for a second about that. Back to that. Someone that asked, again, for critique my setup. Here's a picture of my Brachypelma albopilosum. It's in a 12 by 12 by 18 Exoterra. It's got about 1 inch of dirt. The spider's all the way up in the corner. And you'll get someone that's been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years that has kept thousands upon thousands of spiders in their career. All different ways. Have tried all kinds of different things. Say, hey, you know what? That enclosure that you have right there is more for an arboreal. What you should have for this spider is, an enclosure that's a little bit more ground space, that's got the ability to contain 5, 6, 7, 8 inches of dirt. And the first response back from the person who originally did the post is, the spider's been living like this for a year and it's been perfectly fine. then why did you ask for the criticism? Why did you ask for advice? That absolutely drives me insane. So what happens is the experienced people stop giving advice and they start becoming smartasses. Pardon my French. That's what happens. You start to get frustrated because you know exactly, doing this for years and years, you almost know when you look at a post and the way that it was worded from the original person or the original poster, what kind of person you're dealing with. And you can almost guarantee that if you think there's going to be confrontation, there's probably going to be confrontation. And then the person that was the original poster is going to say, oh, you guys are coming in here being all elitist and trying to tell me how to do this, and I've been doing this for a year, and this spider's been perfectly fine. It eats, it molts, it's perfectly fine. Well, yeah, it does, but it's not really the right setup for it. You know, your spider can fall from that 18 inches high, fall down and rupture its abdomen, and now you have no more spider. So we're just trying to help, and that people don't want that help. So this is where this group is geared to. So we're not going to put up with that. You know, if you ask for advice and then you're not willing to take it, I'm just going to lose you. It's going to be that simple. I will talk to you. Amy will talk to you. Quentin will talk to you. Steve will talk to you. You know, I'll send you a message and say, hey, listen, this is what is going on. This is why you're getting this information. It's not because people are trying to be elitist. It's not because people are trying to be smarter than you or tell you what to do. It's to give you the best opportunity to keep the spider the longest, to give it a longer life in the proper conditions. Again, spiders are completely different. I told you, I put my Brachypelma albopilosum, my female, in that big container, 8 inches of dirt. She hasn't dug crap. She hasn't dug anything. I'm absolutely bewildered that spider didn't dig, because I am an advocate of deep substrate for albopilosums if you can do it. My Nicaraguan, he didn't dig at all. Now, I bet you if I took him and put him in a deep one, he'd probably just try to screw with me and dig a big, huge den burrow. And then we could put my other one in this other one and she would live on top. But it just goes to show you how different spiders, even in the same genus and species, can act differently. So, you know, us trying to give that type of information, stuff like I said, the Poecilotheria striation marks, the patterning on the bottom. What's the difference between a Davus penniloris and a Davus fasciatus or fasciatum? You know, trying to make people understand that shipping through the United States Postal Service is a federal offense. It is against the law. We won't advocate that there, and we will try to educate people to understand that. So people that ship through USPS, don't even bother joining, because once I find out, I'm just going to lose you, because I don't want people to get in trouble for it. Now, if you put a disclaimer on your sales site that says, I use USPS shipping, it is a federal offense, put the part there where it says in the what can and can't be shipped from the United States Post Office, put that link right there and say, if you still want to buy a spider from me, you're now accepting the risk and responsibility of me shipping the spider through USPS to you. Because a lot of times people don't even know that that's a law. And they get spider shipped to them. They go on the group and say, oh, look, I bought this spider from blah, blah, blah. I chose the 3-day USPS shipping, and it got here, you know, in time. Everything looks perfect. And then someone like me or some of the other moderators that are really, really staunch advocates of letting people know this, say, hey, do you realize that this is against the law? Well, no, I don't understand. Could you inform me? So then you spend the next 10 minutes explaining it to them, and they're like, oh my God, how come that person never told me that? And again, I said this before, you could ship 10,000 packages through the United States Postal Service. It only takes one person that does not know that their postmaster has a bug up their rear and decides that I want to open your package. Find out that you have venomous spiders in there, and before you know it, you're slapped with a $2,000 fine. The Fish and Wildlife Game Commission can be summoned. They will confiscate the package, and they could confiscate the spiders that you have in your house, depending on where you live. Because believe me, there's a lot of places that people that keep tarantulas don't realize that they're not allowed to have them. Because why would you look at your local law? There are spiders, for the love of God. Why would there be a law against owning a tarantula? Well, there is. There's a lot of counties. There are a lot of, I think there's even a couple states I'm not really quite sure. I don't want to say for sure because I don't know for sure. But I know there's counties throughout the United States that is illegal to have venomous animals, period. Spiders, snakes, whatever else. What else venomous are there? Lizards? I don't know if there's... I'm not a reptile guy, so are there venomous lizards? I don't think there are, right? I think there's some that have some stuff in their bite that can bother you, but not actually venom. So we'll just go with snakes and spiders. That you're not allowed to have them there. This is one of the reasons that the Erie Expo here in Erie, they stopped doing it, because there was a law that I think that nobody knew about, and that law is supposed to be changed. They're supposed to be changing that law so that we can get this Erie Expo back again. It wasn't a big show, but it was nice to be able to go to one every 3 or 4 months and just walk around and browse things and talk to people. And I got 2 Hapalopa species Columbia large at the last one for $5. So actually, I got 3 of them for $5 because they gave me a free one after I bought the 2 that were $2.50 a piece. So, yeah. So that's kind of where that group is the intention of that group is to give you good solid information, factual information. And I'm all for theories. I love theories. I love saying, hey, I want to try this, and I think the big thing was the throwing a female's molt into a male's enclosure that's in need of a molt that you're waiting to, have actually mature. So we'll use my Davus penniloris as an example. My female molted. So someone put on a group about putting their molt in with the male, and within 3 days the male molted and matured. Again, it may have been that reason, but it also may have just been sheerly coincidence because the spider was already in pre-molt. But what happened is that got professed as a fact, even though they didn't really, I think, intentionally want it to be that way. The way it was worded was that it was a fact, and it was like, I'm blowing it all in your faces. I've only been doing this for 4 months, and I know more than you. I'm better than you. My theories work. And when you question somebody, they have no idea where they got this information from. Well, I read it a million places. Where'd you read it from? I'd like to go read it. Well, I can't remember. Who'd you hear it from? Well, I can't remember. So I was like, okay, well, I have a perfect opportunity to try this. My Davus penniloris female molted. I took the molt from her. I put it in with my male, who's needed to molt as long as she did, and nothing. It's been a week and a half, 2 weeks now, nothing. He still hasn't molted. So you take something that someone wanted to make a fact, and I disproved it with a different spider, talked about it a little bit, and then it was, well, try it with this spider. Try it with the spider that I used. Are you kidding me? Do you think that only that one spider that you have is the only genus and species that does that or doesn't do that? You have to do these things many times over. Theories have to be proven or disproven as fact. And that's what a theory is. It's an idea. And it's a great idea. I've had other people say that it possibly does work. That they've had it work a couple times. But how many times have you done it? Well, maybe I've done it 2 times that it's worked, and maybe 10 times that it hasn't. Well, what does that tell you? Are we actually, doing coincidence here, or is it actually working? So, learning pheromones on spiders and how a male knows a female spider's around, they have to know somehow, right? I mean, if you have a female spider that is in an enclosure that's webbed down or tunneled down, and you put a male in there, and within 10 seconds of you putting them in there, they start tapping, they know that female's in there somehow. Do they smell? I don't know how they could smell. So is it a pheromone? Is it something in the webbing? I don't know. It would be great to understand that. So things like that, we want to discuss things like that and get people's theories, and then try to find information, from biologists, again, that have studied these things for a long time. So I've rambled for a very, very long time while you guys have watched the spider molt. But yeah, I really hope to see some of you guys there. When you get there, just say, hey, say hi, David, or hi, Dave, or hey, Erie Arachnids, or whatever you want to do, just so I know that, you guys saw the video and you joined there because of the video. It's not strictly a United States group, so anybody's welcome. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good place where people can feel comfortable and actually really get solid, good information on stuff. And that's our goal there. So I did want to reiterate that. And I was going to get the laptop out and, you know, put it in, open up the page and show you that way. But it's probably more interesting watching a spider molt instead of watching a screen with the group name and stuff on there. So, yeah, looks like we're almost out of the molt, which is really good. I'm really, really pleased. I could already see that the color. This spider is going to be absolutely stunning. The blues and the orange. You could see the patternings where you see like whitish, and the striation marks are going to be orange, and then the legs are going to be kind of an almost like a navy blue, and then you'll have a little bit of, I can't remember, the carapace is a lighter color, and then the abdomen's a little bit of bluish orange. I can't remember. We'll find out when it flips back over and it hardens up in the next day or two. We'll see what it looks like. But gonna need an enclosure upgrade, so we'll have to get something in mind for this one. I do have an enclosure I can use, so that's probably what it's going to go in. So yeah, I mean, I actually went to a couple places today. I was going to get crickets, and I changed my mind, and you know, we have this 5-gallon aquarium now over here that's empty, and I wanted to get something to put in it, and I was thinking about getting another Pac-Man frog, and I changed my mind. I don't need to deal with another animal. I got the Buffalo Expo coming up, and I'd like to put a corn snake in there, but my wife kind of put the foot down with that. I'd have to get rid of 90% of my spiders, and then I'm allowed to get a snake. I don't want a snake that bad. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys go do check out that site. And don't forget Tarantula Nation. And one more quick thing. I watched Boxing Bo's tag video today. He's feeling much better, which is great to hear. And he had problems with funny questions. And the question he had problem with is, what's your favorite spider? It's a very difficult question to answer. I didn't have a problem with it because I do have that one that really, really pulled me into the hobby. But many people have done the tarantula tag have had a problem with that question. And he was bouncing back and forth between a couple spiders there. His Vagans, his Amelia, and his Postotheria regalis. And he settled, he finally said the regalis, and his son Priest said the OBT. And I almost wanted to go into the video and sit next to him and say, I actually found the perfect answer for that question. So here's the question. What is your favorite spider or favorite tarantula? Whether in your collection, basically. And the correct answer to that question, so if you're listening to this, Jay, this is the answer you should have used. The one that is in front of me at the moment. That is the answer to that question. Because each one has that unique ability to draw your eyes in and say, oh my God, this spider is just absolutely stunning. You know, and then you put it back on the shelf and you bring back another one. You're like, oh my God, this spider is absolutely stunning. And that one now has become your favorite spider. So anybody that does the tag videos from here on out that watches this video, that's the best way you can answer that question. So on that note, sayonara and peace.